How many opportunities have you lost? How many business deals? How many nights of peace simply because you could not resist the urge to react? If you have ever lain awake regretting what you said in anger, if you have felt the cold aftermath of words spoken too soon, then you already know this truth. Life's greatest setbacks are seldom caused by the actions of others, but by the storm that rises unbidden within yourself. You are not alone in this struggle. I have seen seasoned businessmen stumble and humble clerks rise above their station, not by luck or circumstance, but by their ability to govern the instant between provocation and reply. The world will always present irritations and unexpected tests. The question is, will you continue to let these moments dictate your destiny, or will you seize the power to direct your own path? The secret I am about to reveal is not complicated, but it is rare. In these chapters, you will learn how to transform that perilous fraction of a second into your greatest ally. If you are ready to trade regret for real power, keep reading. The transformation begins with you. The first strike is always internal. The most common mistake we make is believing the attack comes from the world around us. We are conditioned to think that pain, insult, and failure are things that happen to us, the results of circumstances and people outside our control. Yes, the world can strike with all its force. Unforeseen events can unravel our plans, harsh words can sting, and opportunities can slip through our fingers. But the true wound, the one that lingers and shapes us, does not begin with what is done to us. It begins within. Imagine the scenario. Someone speaks out of turn, disrespecting you in front of others. A plan you've spent months building falls apart in a single moment. A door you desperately hoped would open slams shut. Instinctively, before you even process what has happened, your pulse starts to race, your chest tightens. Your thoughts scatter and clash like armies at war. You want to shout, to blame, to defend yourself. But that is not the real moment of importance. The true crucible is not the insult itself, not the failure, not even the rejection. The real test lies in what happens between stimulus and response. In that small, almost invisible pause, a fraction of a second, you are handed a quiet, unseen choice. This is the space that separates the reactive from the resilient, the slave from the sovereign. Most people never even notice this space. They react as if they are dry kindling and the world is a spark. Everything catches fire, emotions run wild, words are flung like weapons. But those who have trained their minds, who have learned to observe themselves, know that within that tiny gap, destinies are shaped. You are not here to escape pain or shield yourself from discomfort. You are here to learn how to respond to hardship as an artist faces a rough stone with patience, precision, and creative intent. The chaos of the world cannot be tamed. People will test you. Life will disappoint you. Fate will seem at times to conspire against you. Yet no matter how sharp the arrow or heavy the blow, the wound truly opens only with your consent. This is the liberating truth. No one can ruin your peace unless you allow them to. No insult can ignite your anger without your internal surrender. The discipline of the mind is not about becoming numb or detached from life. It is about reclaiming authority over your own experience, becoming sovereign over yourself. The undisciplined mind is a wild horse. It bolts at the slightest disturbance, lashes out at shadows, drags you into places you never meant to go. The trained mind, by contrast, is like a calm observer. It witnesses the surge of emotion without being swept away. It sees the angry thought arise, but does not immediately act. It recognizes pain as a teacher, not an enemy. Begin here, in this moment. Start by watching yourself as if you are both actor and audience. Notice the thoughts that arrive uninvited, the emotions that surge like ocean tides. Don't try to ride every wave or fight every current. Instead, study them. Sit quietly with the discomfort. Ask yourself, what am I really reacting to? Where does this feeling come from? This is the first and most important battle, not with other people, not with circumstances, but with the ancient, instinctive part of yourself that believes power is found in reaction. The truth is the opposite. Reaction is not power, it is slavery to whatever moves you. The world can provoke, but only you decide if you will bleed. We train for one reason, to become free. Free from the tyranny of every passing mood, every careless word, every storm of emotion. This is the beginning of mastery, the art of choosing your response, and in doing so, shaping your fate. Master the breath. Master the moment. There is an old lesson that wise ones have always passed in silence. A teaching so subtle, it's easy to overlook in the noise of ordinary life. When the body aches to move, resist the urge and remain still. When your tongue burns with words, discipline yourself to remain quiet. When the heart begins to thunder in your chest, focus not on the chaos, but on the simple rhythm of your breath. True power, you will find, does not arise from force or noise. It is born in the stillness you choose when every cell in you begs for action. It is built in the quiet moments when you decide to conserve your breath instead of wasting it on anger or fear or empty retorts. In those moments, the world expects you to unravel. The eyes around you look for the crack in your armor, anticipating that you will break down, lash out, or collapse under pressure. But if you can teach yourself to breathe, just breathe in the eye of that storm, you become something rare and powerful. You become a weapon forged in the fires of restraint, a blade sharpened by silence and poise. Most people never learn this art. They move when they should be still, speak when silence would serve them better, and react with every muscle tensed, every word sharpened by panic. They let their lungs become puppets to fear, to anger, to anxiety. Their breath is ragged, shallow, wasted, never anchoring them, only feeding the chaos within. But breath, properly understood, is not merely air filling the lungs. It is an anchor, grounding you in principle when the winds of emotion threaten to sweep you away. It is a sacred reminder, a call to return to yourself when the world demands that you abandon your core. In the midst of turmoil, when all seems to spin out of control, breathe. Let your breath pull you back to what is unchanging. Return to the principle that you are not defined by insult or pressure. Remember that you are not shaped by what happens outside you, but by the discipline you exercise within. Your composure is your responsibility, and it begins with a single conscious breath. You must train the body to recognize that the moment, no matter how urgent or intense, does not own you. The insult does not define you. The pressure is only temporary, a passing test. What endures is the choice you make in response. It is easy to be swept away by anger, to let fear dictate your movements, or to be seduced by the pride of reaction. But the one who has learned to pause, to hold the breath, and to restrain the first impulse, discovers a strength deeper than any outward show of force. This is not weakness. Society teaches that power is in the punch, the retort, the immediate defense. But restraint is a higher power. It is the mark of one who has learned mastery over self, who understands that releasing the fire inside brings only momentary relief, while holding it, containing it, transforms it into discipline and wisdom. The fire will always want release. Anger will knock at the door. Fear will whisper. Pride will insist. But you are not a servant to those flames. You are the one who holds the match, who decides if and when to strike it. Every day, you must practice this. When the urge rises, pause, breathe, wait. Let the storm pass through you without moving you from your center. In time, you will find that the breath itself becomes your shield. While others flail and drown in the storm of their own emotions, you will stand steady, unshaken. The world may remain chaotic, but you no longer belong to the chaos. You have ceased to be a victim of the moment. You have become its master. This is the quiet, invisible strength that endures. This is how power is built, one breath at a time. You do not have to attend every battle you are invited to. The world is relentless in its invitations to conflict. Each day, it offers you 1,000 battles, most of them meaningless, all of them tempting. A single glance from across the room, a dismissive tone from a stranger, a careless word spoken in haste, a loud opinion echoing in the crowd, a false accusation hurled without a second thought. These are the subtle provocations that litter the path of your daily life, each one daring you to react, pulling at the threads of your pride, poking at the soft underbelly of your anger, and teasing out your fear of being misunderstood or disrespected. Every encounter is a quiet dare. Defend yourself. Prove your worth. Set the record straight. How many hours do we waste trying to correct others' misjudgments? How much of our precious energy do we pour into skirmishes that leave us emptier than before? But wisdom, hard-earned and quietly spoken, teaches a different lesson, a lesson that lives not in the heat of argument, but in the calm of restraint. You must understand this. You are not required to show up to every war that calls your name. Not every gauntlet thrown at your feet deserves to be picked up. The world is full of people eager to fight, eager to pull you into their storms, eager to make you defend yourself against slights both real and imagined. But you do not have to accept their invitation. Imagine a dog barking in the night, loud and persistent, demanding attention. Do you drop to all fours and bark back? Of course not. And when a fool hurls insults in your direction, do you lower your crown and chase after every word, trying to catch and counter each one? No. Let them bark. Let them throw what they will. Your dignity is not found in answering every call to arms. It is found in choosing which battles are worthy of your spirit. The deepest kind of strength is not always loud or obvious. Some of the most formidable people you will ever encounter are not those who win every argument or dominate every debate. No, the truly strong are often the most absent from battles that do not serve their growth. They are not cowards, they are commanders of themselves, guardians of their peace. To walk away is not an act of fear, but of wisdom. It is not an escape from conflict, but an ascension above it. Restraint is a higher form of command. It is the mark of one who has learned the difficult art of governing their emotions rather than being governed by them. When you refuse to be dragged into petty squabbles and empty debates, you are not surrendering. You are declaring sovereignty over your own energy, over your own attention. Let others wonder why you do not react. Let them puzzle over your silence, misinterpreting it as weakness or uncertainty. Let them, for their confusion is not your burden. While they exhaust themselves in noise, burning their vitality in battles that matter little, you quietly build your strength in the sanctuary of self-control. You gather your power in silence. You invest your energy where it can truly grow. The greatest victories are often the ones that leave no scars, the battles you never had to fight. You do not win by clashing with every fool who crosses your path. You win by refusing to become one yourself. Your crown is not for sale, and your peace is not to be auctioned to the highest provocation. Remember this, each time the world invites you to war, the choice is always yours. And true strength is found not in the wars you win, but in the ones you wisely walk away from. Reaction is a fire, response is a flame. There is a subtle, powerful difference between fire and flame, a lesson too often missed in the rush of daily life. One destroys, the other preserves. One ravages, the other warms. Fire is reaction. Flame is response. Reaction is the wildfire. It erupts without warning, spreads without control, and consumes everything it touches. When you react blindly, you let your emotions become that fire fast, hot, destructive. Words fly, bridges burn, and when the smoke clears, all that remains is ash and regret. People admire the spectacle, the noise, the heat, but what do they gain from it? Nothing but scars. Response, on the other hand, is the controlled flame, steady, focused, purposeful. It is the light that banishes darkness, the warmth that brings people together. It is neither wild nor wasteful. A true response is wielded with intention. It does not leap at every spark, nor does it devour at every opportunity. It waits, it watches, it chooses its moment and its strength. Most people never learn this difference. They confuse noise for influence, rage for authority, and silence for weakness. They imagine that to be powerful is to be loud, that to win is to overpower, and that to endure quietly is to surrender. But they are mistaken. Look at the old trees that stand through 1,000 storms. When the winds howl and branches snap, the old trees do not fight the storm with rage. They bend. They yield just enough to survive. They let the wind shape them, not break them. And so, they stand when others fall. The very wind that uproots the weak is what shapes the strong. Your mind works in just the same way. You are not meant to be a slave to your first impulse. You do not have to be overtaken by every emotion or set ablaze by every insult. Fierceness does not mean frenzy. Strength is not found in shouting or in smashing. You can blaze with power and never burn down what you love. The true test of character is not in how hot your anger burns, but in how steady your flame remains under pressure. Let your response be flame deliberate, controlled, illuminating. Let it burn with reason, never revenge. Let it radiate clarity, never chaos. Let it be grounded in principle, not pride. When you live like this, your strength becomes a guiding light rather than a wildfire. Others will be drawn to your calm, your discipline, your unwavering presence. They will sense the heat of your conviction, but never fear being consumed by it. This is the difference between those who live to be feared and those who live to be remembered. The world is full of people who light fires to destroy, who mistake rage for leadership and think that devastation is proof of dominance. But those who are truly remembered, the ones whose presence warms rooms, whose words light paths in the darkness, are the ones who have mastered their flame. Do not strive to be the fire that devours and vanishes. Strive to be the flame that endures and guides. The fire dies quickly, leaving ruin in its wake. The flame lasts, passed on from hand to hand, from heart to heart, bringing comfort and clarity to all who encounter it. The choice is yours, every day, in every moment of tension. You can be fire, wild, consuming, fleeting, or you can be flame steady, warm, unforgettable. Be the flame. You are not your thoughts, you are the one who watches them. Thoughts will always come drifting in, sometimes gentle as a breeze, sometimes fierce as a storm. Doubt will whisper in your ear, subtle and persistent, questioning every step you take. Emotions will surge within you, rising like waves on a turbulent sea, threatening to pull you under with their sudden force. This is the nature of the mind. This is the weather of the inner world. But here is a truth that few ever learn. You must never mistake the weather for the sky. Storms may rage above, clouds may blot out the sun, but the sky itself remains untouched, unchanged, infinite. In the same way, you are not the sum of your passing thoughts. You are not the parade of emotions that sweep through you. You are not what happens within your mind. You are the vastness beneath it all. The untrained mind is easily deceived. It clings to every thought as if it were fact, treats every emotion as if it were forever. In this way, it becomes a servant to every wind that blows. But a trained mind, a mind that has learned to observe, knows the difference. It knows that a thought is merely a visitor, a guest, not a master. It knows that a feeling is a signal, not a sentence to be served. Not everything that appears in your consciousness deserves your obedience or your belief. You can feel anger rising and yet remain unshaken by it. You can notice fear's presence without being ruled by fear itself. The difference lies in your ability to step back, to create distance between yourself and the chaos within. When you step back, you become the observer, the watcher. You begin to see thoughts and feelings for what they are, events, not identities, weather, not the sky. The one who watches is the one who holds real power. The observer is not a slave to impulse. The observer can choose. In the space between noticing and acting, there is freedom, the freedom to pause, to wait, to respond instead of react. This is the difference between living at the mercy of the moment and living with intention. Learn to watch your thoughts the way you might watch birds pass across the sky. Some are bright and beautiful, singing their melodies for a brief moment. Others are harsh, aggressive, even frightening. But all are temporary. All eventually pass. Not every thought demands action. Not every emotion requires your surrender. Your power is not found in controlling what comes into your mind. No one can stop the storms from forming or the clouds from drifting by. Your power is found in choosing what you allow to remain. It is in your discipline over what you entertain, what you nurture, what you let take root in the soil of your attention. This is the quiet secret of the strong. They do not waste themselves trying to stop the weather. They simply refuse to let it define the sky. And the one who chooses what stays, chooses the shape of their own future. By deciding which thoughts to believe, which emotions to cultivate, you carve your destiny from within. You do not let passing storms uproot your foundation. You wait, you watch, and when the skies clear, you choose what remains. Be that one, the watcher, the chooser, the steady presence beneath the storms. Let the weather come and go as it will. Watch, wait, and choose your future, one thought at a time. The cost of reactivity is always higher than you think. Every reaction feels justified in the heat of the moment. The words you want to say, the anger rising in your chest, the urge to strike back or prove a point, all of it seems so right, so necessary. In that instant, emotion convinces you that your reaction is a matter of justice, of self-respect, of survival. But justification is not wisdom. The feeling that you are right is not the same as being wise. The true cost of reactivity is rarely obvious. It does not always announce itself with catastrophe or fanfare. More often, it slips silently into your life, whispering its toll through fractured relationships, through small regrets that linger long after the moment has passed, through diminished credibility and missed opportunities. You may not notice it right away, but it accumulates a hidden debt, quietly growing with every impulsive word, every rash decision, every time you give your power away to a fleeting feeling. An unguarded reaction is never free. It can cost you your peace, leaving you restless and unsettled. It can cost you your position, undermining the respect others have for you, or causing you to lose ground you worked so hard to gain. It can even cost you your path, steering you away from your true intentions and deeper goals, all for the sake of a moment's satisfaction. People rarely remember the intentions behind your actions. They do not hold on to your best plans or the quiet hours you spent nurturing goodwill. Instead, they remember the outburst, the harsh word, the moment when you lost your composure. A single impulsive act can overshadow months, even years, of good intentions and disciplined effort. The price of reactivity is not paid at once. It is paid slowly, in days and weeks and sometimes years. The consequences echo long after the moment is gone. So when anger whispers to you, let them feel it. Make your presence known. Pause. Ask yourself, what will I feel tomorrow? When pride stirs within you, demanding that you defend your ego, ask, what will this cost me in clarity, in focus, in peace of mind? To act on impulse feels powerful for a heartbeat, but the power it gives is shallow and short-lived. Restraint, on the other hand, is the quiet shield that guards your strength, your dignity, your future. Restraint is not weakness. It is the discipline to see beyond the present emotion, to weigh the consequences before paying their price. It is the wisdom to understand that not every feeling deserves an action, not every urge is worthy of pursuit. There is a strength in holding back, in refusing to be swept away by the first wave of emotion. The formula for resilience is simple, but not easy. Think long, feel deep, act slow. Give your mind the space to consider, your heart the time to settle, your spirit the chance to see past the moment. In doing so, you do not become cold or unfeeling, you become steady. You protect your energy for what truly matters. You invest your strength in the future, not in the fleeting dramas of the present. In a world that rewards speed and reaction, the resilient stand apart. They build lives, reputations, and relationships that endure not by never feeling, but by refusing to be ruled by feeling alone. So let your first instinct be to pause. Let your wisdom have the last word. That is how you remain unbroken, by choosing not just to react, but to respond with intention, clarity, and purpose. To respond is to stand still inside the storm. Chaos will always swirl around you. There will be days when voices rise above reason, each one louder than the last, clamoring for attention and demanding your reaction. Pressures will build expectations from others, deadlines, judgments, disappointments. The noise of the world can grow so deafening that it feels almost impossible to remain steady within it. Yet, the one who has trained the mind, who has practiced the art of observation and restraint, does not simply reflect the storm outside. He becomes the very stillness within it, the eye of the hurricane, unshaken while all else is thrown into turmoil. This calm is not a product of luck or temperament. It is the result of conscious, deliberate effort. It is the work of someone who refuses to become a puppet to every passing current, who has learned that true power is never found in matching chaos with chaos, but in holding fast when everything else moves. The world expects you to join its frenzy, to shout when it shouts, to panic when it panics, to add your energy to the collective unrest. This is the script that most people follow, reacting by reflex, drawn into every drama and disturbance that crosses their path. But something extraordinary happens when you do not play your part in the noise. When you remain grounded, your mind steady, your words measured, your presence deliberate, a shift occurs, both in you and in those around you. You cease to be another voice in the storm. You become the silence others notice, the quiet that demands attention, the anchor that gives others permission to slow down and listen. Stillness, though, is often misunderstood. Many mistake it for passivity, for surrender, for absence of will. But true stillness is none of these things. Stillness is preparation, a gathering of power before it is directed. It is the sharpening of your focus, the quiet assessment of your surroundings, the moment in which you choose your response with care. In stillness, you select your weapon wisely. Sometimes it is silence, sometimes it is a single clear word, Sometimes it is a simple change of direction. But never is it mindless reaction. Those who respond with clarity have not frozen. They have chosen. They have refused to be swept away by the first wave of chaos, opting instead to anchor themselves deep within their principles. This is the difference between being controlled by circumstances and controlling your presence within them. So, when the storm hits, when the pressure is high, and the world seems to spin faster than you can keep up, your first duty is not to act, but to slow down. Plant your feet as if you were a tree, roots sinking deep into the earth. Let your mind become as wide and open as the sky, unmoved by passing weather. Speak little. Each word becomes precious, a stone thrown with intention instead of a handful of sand scattered in the wind. Watch everything. Let nothing escape your awareness, for wisdom is born in observation, not in haste. Remember this: you are not in the storm. The storm rages above, around, and within others, but you are the anchor beneath it. Your stillness does not mean you are blind to the world's chaos. It means you have become the one thing it cannot move. While others are tossed and turned, searching for something to hold on to, you become the presence they seek, the silent force that endures, guides, and quietly transforms the storm itself. The mind is a muscle. Train it with weight. Strength is never born from comfort. You do not build muscle by running from the weight. You build it by facing it, lifting it, allowing your body to struggle, strain, and adapt. Over time, the weight that once seemed impossible becomes a part of you. The same principle governs the mind. Every challenging moment is a form of resistance. Each delay that tests your patience, every insult that stings, every instance of confusion that clouds your path, every bit of pressure that tightens around you, these are the mental weights of daily life. They press down on you, demanding a response, daring you to break or to rise. Most people shrink from this pressure. They complain, resist, wish for easier circumstances. They long for a world without friction, not realizing that a life without resistance is a life without growth. The disciplined, however, see every challenge as an opportunity to become more than they were yesterday. They know that each test is a chance to add another layer to their inner strength. Every time you hold your composure when it would be easier to collapse, you become stronger. Every moment you observe your emotions instead of being ruled by them, you reinforce your foundation. Strength is not about being numb, nor about pretending you feel nothing. It is about feeling everything, the full spectrum of frustration, fear, and uncertainty, and still choosing the response that aligns with your highest discipline. Think of the mind as you would a warrior's body. It is not forged by chance, but by daily effort. You must train it with intention, setting clear goals for your character just as you would for your physique. It requires consistency, showing up day after day, facing what you would rather avoid, pushing through discomfort, never letting up simply because progress is slow. Let difficulty become your gym. Let every day be your training ground. When the world delivers setbacks, see them as exercises, opportunities to practice patience, resilience, and clarity. When someone challenges you, let it be a moment to lift the weight of your own reaction, choosing calm over chaos. When confusion clouds your mind, use it as resistance to strengthen your focus. Each circumstance, no matter how minor or major, is a chance to practice discipline. The goal is not to become someone who never reacts, who is immune to emotion. That is not possible, nor is it even desirable. The goal is to endure, to observe, and then to respond not from impulse, but from strength. To become someone who can stand in the midst of turmoil and choose not to be moved by every passing wind. To be the person who remains rooted in their principles, even as the world tests their resolve. So, welcome the wait. Do not seek to avoid it. When difficulty arises, recognize it as your teacher. When you feel tested, remember that you are training for something greater than comfort. You are training for mastery. With every moment of effort, with every deliberate response, you are building the unshakable mind. And over time, just as the body adapts and grows from lifting what was once too heavy, so too will your mind transform. You will discover reserves of strength you did not know you possessed. You will face new challenges with a steady hand and a calm heart. You will move through life not as someone shaped by circumstance, but as someone who shapes their response to every circumstance. That is how resilience is built, not by avoiding the weight, but by lifting it every single day. The delay is where wisdom lies. If there was one skill you could buy that would change the entire course of your life, it would be this: the ability to purchase a single second between the moment you are triggered and the moment you react. Just 1 second, a single breath, an instant of separation. Yet in that tiny space, destinies are rewritten. Most people never realize the power of this moment. They live at the mercy of their impulses, quick to strike back, quick to defend, quick to lash out. The untrained mind reacts before thought has a chance to intervene. It is as if there is no gap at all between the trigger and the reaction, no buffer, no room for reason to enter. But those who have trained themselves, who have learned the quiet art of restraint, know the difference that a single second can make. In that 1 second, the old self, the one ruled by habit and emotion, has a chance to die. In that same moment, the new self, the one governed by intention and principle, can begin. It is in this gap that transformation lives. The space between stimulus and response is where you decide who you are, not just what you feel. A delay between trigger and reaction is not weakness, far from it. It is power in disguise, a hidden strength that sets the disciplined apart from the impulsive. That pause is not an absence of action, it is the presence of mastery. Within this second, you can ask the questions that matter. You can step back from the storm and inquire, what is really true here? Am I seeing clearly, or am I blinded by my emotion? Does this moment matter in the long run, or is it a distraction from what is truly important? What response aligns with my highest values, not just my current feelings? Each time you create this pause, you invite wisdom to the table. Instead of being dragged by the chains of your past reactions, you sit with your choices and select the one that builds your future. The pause is where discernment is born, where you filter out the noise and listen for the voice of reason. Building this delay is not easy. It is a practice, a discipline. It requires self-awareness to even notice the trigger in the first place. It requires humility to admit that your first impulse might not serve you well. But every moment you stretch the gap, every time you hold back just long enough to let your deeper self respond, you are rewiring your mind for strength. Train the pause as if your life depends on it, because, in truth, the quality of your life does. The more you develop this skill, the more you find that your days are no longer stolen by regret, by thoughtless words, by actions you wish you could take back. Instead, you live as the author of your own responses. You become less reactive, more intentional. You start to lead your life rather than be led by it. Let the pause become your silent ally. Stretch the moment between what provokes you and what you choose to do about it. The pause does not rob you of your power, it returns it to you. In that brief interval, you choose the next chapter, not just for the moment, but for who you are becoming. In a world that pushes for immediate reaction, be the one who waits, who breathes, who thinks. Build the delay. Stretch the gap, train the pause, and let your response be something you own, crafted, deliberate, and worthy of who you truly are. If you don't train the mind, the world will train it for you. Every voice you ignore trains your mind. Every scroll, every comment, every reaction, every piece of noise you allow to shape your state. If you don't program your mind, someone else will. The undisciplined are led by whatever is loudest. The disciplined are led by whatever is truest. So ask yourself, where is my mind being trained? Is it being taught to hold peace or panic, to chase approval or to master inner stillness? Training is not occasional, it is daily. It is moment by moment. Guard the inputs, protect the internal dialogue, because what enters you builds you, and only the trained mind can choose what becomes permanent. You owe no one your reaction, only your presence. Many believe that silence is weakness, a sign of uncertainty, of not knowing what to say, of being powerless in the face of noise. The world rewards those who speak first, who react loudly, who show their agitation as proof of their strength. But those who have tasted discipline, who have practiced the art of holding their center, know a different truth. Silence is not a surrender. Silence is a fortress. Within silence, you find the walls that shield you from the chaos of others. It is not passivity, nor is it a lack of courage. It is an act of supreme self-command. You are not required to explain your calm to people who thrive on disturbance. You do not owe an answer to those who profit from your unrest. You are not in this world to dance at the strings of every trigger pulled by someone else. Your greatest task is not to appease every demand, to react to every provocation, or to chase every insult with an explanation. Your duty is to hold your center, to remain anchored and aware, no matter how loud the world becomes around you. Every day, people will throw their chaos at your feet. They will try to bait you into anger, into argument, into losing yourself for their amusement or advantage. But you owe no one your explosion, no one your panic, no one your impulse. These are treasures of your inner world, not currency to be traded for fleeting approval or control. What you owe first and foremost is presence. Not the kind of presence that absorbs every wound, that takes on every emotion thrown your way, but the presence that listens without being consumed, that observes without becoming entangled, that stands perfectly still even as those around you spiral and unravel. This is the presence of one who has learned the strength of stillness. It is the power to see clearly without judgment, to remain steady without becoming cold, to be deeply engaged without being easily disturbed. Remember, you were not born to be a servant to agitation. You were not put on this earth to be a puppet for every emotional storm that passes through the people around you. You are not here to be battered about by the moods and whims of the world. You are here to be a steward of awareness, a keeper of the quiet space within yourself where true perception lives. Train this discipline until it becomes your second nature. Practice the art of silence until it feels like home. Train until people look at you and cannot tell whether you are angry or enlightened, whether you are about to speak or simply savoring the peace. Become the kind of presence that unsettles others, not because you are unstable, but because you are immovable. This is how you transcend the chaos. This is how you become something greater than reaction, a force that neither absorbs nor amplifies the noise around you. With enough practice, you will find yourself less and less caught up in the storms that once swept you away. Instead, you will rise above them as the sky rises above the weather. You are no longer a storm, battered and fleeting. You have become the sky itself, vast, calm, enduring. The clouds may come and go, the winds may howl, but you remain. You are not the noise. You are the space in which it happens, and in that space there is strength, peace, and a silent authority that nothing can touch. The mind cannot be trusted until it has been tested. A mind that is never tested is like a sword that is never placed against the stone. It may shine in the sun, drawing admiration for its surface brilliance, but when the moment of true need arrives, it bends, it chips, it fails. There is a kind of strength that is only revealed through adversity, a hidden quality that cannot be faked and cannot be gifted. It must be earned. We are drawn to ease and comfort, to moments where nothing threatens our composure or challenges our certainty. But comfort is a poor teacher. What you truly need is the test. Not so that you can parade your strength for the approval of others, but so that you can discover, with humility, what still lies dormant within you. The test is not to prove who you are to the world, but to reveal quietly and honestly who you are not yet. It is in these moments that you are stripped of illusions, shown the places where your discipline falters, your patience thins, your attachments reveal themselves. You do not really know your own discipline until your pride is confronted when someone's careless insult bites at your ego, and you must decide whether to defend, to attack, or to let it pass like wind through leaves. You do not know the depth of your patience until you face delay, when what you want is held just beyond your reach, and the old impatient self claws at the door. You do not know the truth of your detachment until you experience loss, when something or someone you cherish is taken, and your mind must choose between despair and resilience. Every trial you encounter is a mirror, reflecting back what remains untrained, untempered, unfinished within you. Every pressure is a teacher, offering lessons in the language of discomfort and uncertainty. Every struggle is a sharpening stone, wearing away the dull edges of your character and exposing the steel beneath. Do not waste your time asking for an easier path. Do not pray for the world to go gentle on you, or for fate to spare you its challenges. Ask, instead, for exposure. Ask that your weaknesses be brought into the light. Ask for the truth of your current limits to be revealed. Because only in knowing where you are fragile can you begin to forge real strength. The fire does not destroy the sword, it purifies it. The test does not diminish the mind, it prepares it for everything to come. It is a natural desire to want peace, to crave security, to hope for calm days and friendly faces. But these things, as pleasant as they are, do not sharpen the blade. They do not build the inner architecture that allows you to stand when the world trembles. It is adversity that shapes you, that calls forth the dormant powers within, that reveals to you the substance of your own will. When you avoid the test, you avoid the opportunity to know yourself fully. You remain a sword, unsharpened, beautiful, perhaps, but untrustworthy in the hands of adversity. Only when your mind has been tested, when you have stood in the storm and watched your old limits fall away, can you trust your own response to life. Only then does your composure carry the weight of wisdom, not just the appearance of it. So welcome the test, not for applause, but for revelation. Welcome the challenge, for it alone can turn potential into power. With each trial, you carve away what is false and discover what is true. And when the next test comes, and it always will, you will be ready, sharp, and trustworthy in both mind and response. The disciplined mind is a quiet mind. Noise is often mistaken for something that belongs to the outside world, the endless distractions, the chatter of crowds, the demands and opinions that swirl around us every day. But look closer, and you will see. Noise is not born from the world, but from the untrained mind. The world only amplifies what already exists within. The true noise is internal. It's the hum of background thoughts, the fears that cycle endlessly, the constant comparisons to others, the restless predictions of what might go wrong, the judgments about yourself and everyone around you. This is the soundtrack of an undisciplined mind, a mind that cannot sit still with itself. It fills every quiet moment with worries and wants, never allowing space for real clarity or peace. But something extraordinary happens when you begin to train your mind. As you cultivate discipline, the volume of internal noise starts to drop. The fears do not disappear, nor do the uncertainties or judgments vanish overnight, but they lose their power to drown out your inner voice. What remains is not an empty silence, but a silence of struggle, a profound clarity that sits beneath the turbulence. This does not mean the mind is free from thought. Thoughts will always come and go, just as weather passes across the sky. The difference is that a trained mind is no longer controlled by every passing thought. The storm may rage above, but you remain steady beneath it. You are not swept away by the winds of insecurity or the tides of external validation. A quiet mind finds its own anchor. It does not require applause to feel worthy. It does not need constant agreement to know it is on the right path. It does not chase approval from every person it meets. Instead, it moves with certainty, a quiet confidence rooted not in ego, but in clarity. This mind knows who it is, and more importantly, knows where it is going. It can wait through discomfort. It can listen when others would rush to speak. And when it does choose to speak, its words are few, but each carries weight far beyond mere sound. Think of the greatest leaders, the wisest sages, the people you remember long after they leave the room. What sets them apart is not the noise they make, but the weight of their presence. Their words matter because they have learned to be silent with themselves. They do not fill every space with opinions or rush to defend every position. Their restraint is a sign of mastery, not weakness. This level of quiet confidence is not achieved by accident. It is a discipline, a practice, a training that must be undertaken daily. Train your mind to be quiet, not by suppressing thought, but by observing it. Notice the noise, the urge to compare, the drive to be heard. Let it rise and fall without being moved by it. Return, again and again, to the core of who you are. With time, you will find the mind grows quieter, the struggle softens, and clarity rises to the surface. You will no longer need to prove yourself in every conversation. You will no longer need to be heard just to feel seen. Your energy will be reserved for what matters, and your words, when finally spoken, will land with a force that transcends sound. This is the gift of the disciplined mind, the ability to dwell in peace amidst chaos and to let your words carry the gravity of true silence. Train your mind to be quiet. In that quiet, you will discover your greatest power. True power is choosing not to use it. Anyone can strike back when provoked. Anyone can raise their voice, sharpen their words, and attempt to crush what stands in their way. The impulse to dominate, to show power through force or fury, is not uncommon. It is, in fact, the simplest path. Reaction is always the easy option, especially when pride or anger are at stake. But true strength is something far rarer. It is not found in domination, not measured by how many arguments you win or how many adversaries you silence. It is discovered in the quiet art of restraint. Look to the wild for examples of this principle in its purest form. The wolf, confident in its own strength, does not howl at every breeze that stirs the forest. The lion, ruler of its domain, does not flinch at every rustle in the bush. These creatures are not easily moved because they know exactly what they are. Their power is not diminished by their calm, it is revealed in it. They have nothing to prove, so they do not waste their energy reacting to every insignificant provocation. There is a lesson in this for all who wish to become truly strong. True power is not demonstrated by a need to show it at every opportunity. Instead, it is the ability to see the weakness in others, their need to provoke, to shout, to prove themselves, and to choose, consciously, not to match it. True power is recognizing when a battle is beneath you, when silence is the greater victory, when restraint is the most disciplined choice. You were not placed in this world to win every argument or to crush every challenge that crosses your path. You are here to win yourself. And that battle, the only one that truly matters, is not fought with words or with visible shows of strength. It is fought in the unseen moments when you are tested, when you are triggered, when every nerve in your body cries out for reaction and you instead choose to remain unmoved. To respond with poise when provoked is to wield real mastery over yourself. To walk away with pride, undisturbed by the noise around you, is to claim a victory few will ever understand. Your silence in the face of provocation is not weakness. It is a quiet reminder to others and to yourself that you had the sword all along and that you simply chose not to use it. That choice is power in its highest form. Let your restraint speak louder than any retort. Let your composure echo long after you leave the room. Those who are desperate to prove themselves will often mistake your calm for surrender, your silence for emptiness. Let them. Their misunderstanding is not your concern. What matters is that you know who you are and what you are capable of, and that you refuse to be dragged down into battles unworthy of your spirit. Remember, you win nothing by meeting weakness with weakness or noise with more noise. The only true victory is mastery of the self. Every time you resist the urge to react, every time you choose presence over provocation, you forge another link in the chain of your inner strength. Be the one who can remain still in a world of chaos. Be the one whose silence commands more respect than the loudest voice. For in the end, it is not in the strike, but in the steady hand that holds back, where the rarest strength and the deepest freedom can be found. The one who responds rules. In the end, all paths of discipline, wisdom, and growth lead back to a single dividing line. Reaction is slavery. Response is sovereignty. Those who react are forever held captive by whatever the world throws at them. They are tossed by every passing mood, driven by every insult, provoked by every mistake, their power always hostage to what happens around them. To live this way is to be chained, not by physical bonds, but by the unpredictable whims of life itself. Each reaction hands the reins of your mind to circumstance, to the actions of others, to chance. But those who learn to respond, who train themselves to pause, to consider, to choose, are the true rulers of their own domain. By mastering themselves, they quietly shape the world. Their lives are not a series of reflexes and regrets, but a steady procession of choices made with clarity and intent. These are the people whose presence changes a room, whose words shift the course of conversation, whose calm stands like a lighthouse in the middle of every storm. If you crave command over yourself, your outcomes, your future train restraint, restraint is the muscle that lifts you above the noise and chaos. If you desire true freedom, not the illusion of doing whatever you want, but the reality of being unmoved by whatever happens, train presence. Presence is the anchor that keeps you grounded when life would sweep you away. If you seek real power, not loud and fleeting, but deep and enduring, train poise. Poise is the quiet force that lets you stand tall when others bend and break. The one who responds does not live by habit or reflex. They do not simply echo the noise around them. Instead, they act from reason, from depth, from the quiet wellspring of their own purpose. while others are quick to rise and even quicker to fall, burning bright in bursts of undisciplined fire, only to burn out just as fast. You must choose a different path. Be different. Burn slow. Burn steady. Let your fire be fueled by intention, not by impulse. Let every flame within you carry the discipline of purpose, the clarity of self-mastery, the resolve to hold your center no matter what the world demands. This is not the path of least resistance. It is the path of greatest reward. You were not born to be a servant to circumstance, to live a life dictated by every event and every emotion. You were born with the capacity to become the master of your inner world, to train your mind, to direct your heart, to command your own response to whatever arises. That mastery does not begin in the grand gestures. It begins in the smallest moments, in the choice to pause, to breathe, to let wisdom speak before action is taken. This is the quiet revolution, a transformation invisible to most, but life-changing for those who undertake it. It is the hidden discipline, the ancient art of becoming unshakable, that separates those who merely endure life from those who shape it. It is the foundation of the trained mind, the secret weapon of all true achievers and leaders throughout history. And it belongs to us, now. The invitation is open. Choose response over reaction. Practice it daily, in the small conflicts and the great storms. Let your restraint become your command, your presence become your freedom, your poise become your power. Go and live this discipline. Carry it into every day, every challenge, every breath. In doing so, you claim the sovereignty that was always meant to be yours.